Imagine waking up one morning and feeling no fear. Imagine walking into the world without doubting your words, your steps, your decisions. Imagine looking into the mirror and actually smiling. Not because everything is perfect, but because you finally trust yourself. But then life happens. People speak. Expectations press down. And slowly, you begin to question again. Am I enough? Will I ever succeed? Why do I feel like I'm always falling behind? These thoughts don't come because you're weak. They come because the world forgot to teach you how strong you really are. Have you ever stopped to wonder how many dreams go silent just because someone didn't believe in themselves? How many paths were never walked? How many gifts were never opened just because fear whispered louder than faith? You are not alone in this feeling, but you also don't have to stay there. Let's look at a simple example. A small bird on the edge of a branch may tremble, but it still takes flight. Not because it trusts the branch, but because it trusts its wings. What if, from today, you began to trust your own wings? Welcome to Wisdom Writings. This is not just another video. This is a journey into yourself, where ancient Buddhist wisdom meets your modern daily life. If you believe even a little spark of faith is still alive inside you, then this video will help you light it into a fire. So, take a deep breath. And before we go deeper, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. You never know who else needs this message right now. And please, drop your thoughts in the comments. Your words might inspire someone who feels the same. And if you wish to stay calm and positive till the very end, simply comment Namo Buddhist now. A small act that can keep your heart anchored through this entire journey. The voice of self-belief is quiet, but once you hear it, you will never unhear it again. Let's begin. Self-doubt is like a shadow. It follows silently, without asking permission, and often without being noticed, until it becomes too heavy to ignore. A person may wake up with a calm heart, but as soon as the world begins speaking, doubts creep in. Can I really do this? What if I fail again? Am I even worthy of trying? These questions are not born from truth. They are born from fear. Fear is clever. It dresses up as logic. It pretends to protect you from disappointment. It whispers, stay small, stay safe, stay unseen. But what it really does is build a cage inside the mind. A cage that looks invisible from the outside, yet feels solid from within. The Buddha never taught that a person was weak. He taught that people believe they are weak. That's the illusion. The mind, untamed, creates the story of limitation. And once that story repeats enough, it becomes the reality a person lives in. But reality is not fixed. The Buddha taught anicca, impermanence. Just as seasons change, so can thoughts. Just as winter does not last forever, the coldness of doubt can also melt. When one begins to observe the mind, really observe like watching clouds move in a silent sky, something begins to shift. You realize, these thoughts, they're not me. They're just passing through. And just that simple realization that a thought is not a fact becomes the crack in the illusion. Look at a tree. It does not question if it will grow. It simply leans toward the sun. Even if the wind bends it, it continues upward. It trusts its nature. Why then do we, who are gifted with awareness, forget our nature so easily? Because we've been taught from the outside and forgotten to listen from the inside. Self-doubt often begins in childhood. A word, a look, a comparison. One small moment of being told you're not good enough, and it plants itself deep. But it is not truth. It is an opinion, and opinions are not permanent. In Buddhism, the teaching of right view tells us to see things clearly, not through the filter of our old wounds. When you doubt yourself, ask, is this true now, or is this a memory speaking through me? When a person meditates, they slowly peel back these layers. They don't fight the doubt. They observe it. They understand it. And through understanding, it begins to dissolve. Think of a muddy pond. At first, it's cloudy, full of dirt and motion. But if you let it sit undisturbed, the mud settles. The water clears. That clarity exists within you too. But you must sit. You must be still. You must not run. Self-doubt wants action. Anxious action, nervous action, reaction. But stillness is what defeats it. In stillness, It has no place to hide. The Buddha's own story began with doubts. He left a palace, wandered forests, questioned everything. Even under the Bodhi tree, Mara came, the Lord of Illusion, tempting him with fear, pride, and hesitation. But the Buddha sat still. He did not push Mara away. He simply did not believe him. And so Mara left. You too can do this. You can sit through the noise, through the inner storms, through the trembling. You can wait until the truth returns. And it will return, like a forgotten friend knocking gently on the door of your heart. You're not broken. You are simply buried beneath ideas that were never yours. Let them fall away, one by one. Confidence is not loud. It is not boastful. True confidence is quiet. It arises when you no longer believe the voice of doubt. It comes like the morning sun, without force, but with great certainty. Do not wait to feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling. It is a decision. Decide to believe in yourself, even while the fear still speaks. Let your courage walk beside your uncertainty. And slowly, the uncertainty will grow quiet. Life is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be sincere, to try, to show up, to take one breath at a time, and keep walking, even when the path is foggy. This is how the illusion of self-doubt ends. Not with one great battle, but with 1,000 small moments of choosing faith over fear. Let today be one of those moments. Let it be quiet. Let it be gentle. But let it be real. A man once sat by a quiet stream, watching the water flow endlessly over smooth stones. The stream never questioned its path. It did not doubt the curves, the dips, or the bends. It simply flowed. That man, however, carried a storm inside. He doubted his worth, feared failure, and questioned whether he was enough. The water showed him no answers, yet reflected everything. This is the nature of the mind. Like water, it reflects what we bring to it. If we approach the mind with fear, it reflects fear. If we look with anger, it returns anger. But if we bring stillness, the mirror becomes clear. And in that stillness, we begin to see who we truly are. Mindfulness is not just sitting with closed eyes. It is not about escaping the world. It is about being deeply present in the moment, fully aware of each breath, each movement, each thought. When one becomes aware without judgment, a great silence begins to bloom within. That silence is the space where self-belief grows. There is no great mountain outside you to climb. The only mountain is your own mind. And mindfulness is the gentle walking stick that helps you ascend without fear. When you begin to observe your thoughts without attaching yourself to them, you begin to understand something powerful. You're not your thoughts. A thought says, you can't do it. But who said that? Who is listening? If you're the one hearing the thought, then you are not the thought itself. You're the awareness. You are the witness. And the witness is always stronger than what it sees. People believe in the noise within them more than they believe in their calm center. That is why they get lost. They run with every emotion, every opinion, every wave. But when you begin to observe without chasing, when you begin to watch without judgment, the mind starts to settle. And when the mind settles, something beautiful happens. The reflection becomes clear. You begin to see your original face. Not the one you wear for the world, but the one that existed before doubt was planted. That face is full of quiet confidence. It is not proud. It does not shout. It simply is. Confidence, in Buddhism, is not bravado. It is not loud or boastful. It is the deep understanding that nothing is lacking. When the Buddha spoke of mindfulness, he was not offering a technique. He was pointing to a truth. If you become aware of yourself, you will stop looking for yourself elsewhere. A person chases many things, success, praise, validation, but when they sit in silence and breathe, they often discover they are not missing anything. All their chasing was born from forgetting who they already were. The mirror of mindfulness helps them remember. Have you ever watched a child playing? They do not doubt themselves. They do not ask, am I doing it right? They are simply present. But as we grow, we start gathering dust, criticism, failure, fear, and we forget our original joy. Mindfulness is the act of cleaning that mirror so we can see the child again. Breathe in, and you meet yourself. Breathe out, and you release what you are not. That is the rhythm of mindfulness. Simple, gentle, and powerful. Through this rhythm, we begin to understand. We are already whole. Doubts will still arise. Fear will visit. But through mindfulness, you greet them as passing clouds. You say, "Ah, here you are again," and you let them pass. You do not resist, but you also do not follow. In this way, you remain rooted in your center. There's no need to fight your thoughts. Fighting only strengthens them. Instead, sit like the mountain. Let the winds come. Let the rains fall. But do not be moved. This is the strength of the mindful heart. It sees everything, feels everything, but is not shaken. Self-belief is not a gift given by others. It is a seed already within you. But it grows only in the soil of attention. If you water it with awareness, if you give it sunlight through patience, it will bloom naturally. The mirror does not lie, but it also does not flatter. It simply shows. In seeing ourselves clearly, we learn to stop pretending. We stop hiding. And strangely, that is when others begin to believe in us too. Not because we are performing, but because we are present. In mindfulness, there's nowhere to hide and nothing to chase. There's only now. And in this now, you are more than enough. You are the calm in the center of the storm. You are the one watching the river. You are the space between the thoughts. When you begin to live in this space, you stop waiting for permission to believe in yourself. You stop needing applause. You carry your own inner applause, soft, steady, and peaceful. That is true freedom. Mindfulness does not make your problems disappear. It makes you bigger than them. It gives you room to breathe, to choose, to act with clarity. And when you act with clarity, your steps become lighter, your words become fewer, and your presence becomes stronger. The world does not need you to be someone else. It needs you to be deeply you. And mindfulness is the mirror that shows you that self. Not your anxious self, not your pressured self, but your true, timeless self. When you sit quietly, when you observe without grasping, when you breathe with awareness, you do not become someone new. You return to someone ancient, someone who always knew the truth, but forgot for a while. And so, the Zen Master says, do not wait for the perfect moment. This moment is enough. Sit, breathe, watch, and in that watching begin to believe, not because you've achieved something, but because you are awake. He sat quietly, as if the world around him had no weight anymore. It wasn't because the problems disappeared, but because he had found something unshakable within himself. That something was Dharma. When we talk about Dharma, people often think of rules or duties, but it's much more alive than that. Dharma is the natural truth of how things are. It's the path, the inner compass that always points toward awakening. And when a person starts believing in themselves, truly, they begin to align with that Dharma. Belief in oneself is not pride. It is not ego. It is not the loud voice saying, I am better. No, it is the quiet knowing that I am enough. That is the real power. That is the beginning of Dharma unfolding in one's life. The Buddha never said, believe in me. He said, be a lamp unto yourself. That is the mark of a real teacher. He wanted people to see clearly, not to follow blindly. That's the nature of true Dharma. It gives you the tools, not chains. A person who starts walking in line with Dharma doesn't need to announce it. Their presence becomes peaceful. Their actions become wise. Their decisions no longer come from fear or craving, but from clarity. You may ask, how does belief connect with Dharma? The answer is simple. Without belief in your ability to follow the path, you will never take the first step. Doubt makes you stop. Dharma makes you flow. And belief is the bridge. Think of water flowing down a mountain. It doesn't ask, can I reach the valley? It just flows with full trust in its nature. This is how the wise live, with effortless belief. They don't argue with life. They follow Dharma. And in doing so, they express their true power. When you believe in yourself, you stop being a victim of situations. You stop blaming. You take responsibility. That is a strong word, responsibility. But when taken with gentleness, it becomes beautiful. It means the ability to respond. Not react, but respond with awareness. Dharma teaches us that every experience, even suffering, has meaning if we see it rightly. You're not broken. You're being shaped. You're not lost. You're being shown a new way. That is Dharma's silent work behind the scenes. The world today teaches us to shout. Dharma teaches us to listen. To ourselves, to life, and to that still, small whisper that says, "You are capable." Many people wait for external proof before they start believing in themselves. But the Buddha said the proof is within. When you act with compassion, you feel light. When you speak truthfully, your chest feels open. That's the Dharma compass. Follow it. There was once a monk who was asked, "How do you walk the path?" He replied, "By walking." That is how belief grows. You walk, you fall, you rise, and with each step, you believe a little more, not because of the result, but because of the courage it took to try again. Inside you is a deep reservoir of strength. You may not have touched it yet, but it's there. Dharma says it's not something to earn. It's something to uncover. Layer by layer, belief reveals the true power that has always been inside you. When you align with Dharma, you stop asking, "What should I do?" and begin to ask, "What is right?" That shift is powerful. You begin to listen to a different kind of guidance, not from fear, not from insecurity, but from stillness. True belief is humble. It doesn't scream. It doesn't compare. It simply knows. And when it knows, it moves gently yet unshakably. That's the sign of someone who walks with Dharma. Imagine being in a room full of noise, yet inside you, there's a silence so strong that nothing can disturb it. That's not fantasy. That's what Dharma makes possible, but only if you start believing that you can reach it. When you follow Dharma, you don't escape life. You engage with it more deeply. You see pain and joy not as opposites, but as twins of the same truth. Both teach, both pass, and both bring you closer to your own inner reality. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you strengthen your belief. Every time you choose patience over anger, you walk the Dharma path. These are not small things. These are victories of the spirit. Even the Buddha had to face doubt before his awakening. Mara, the tempter, whispered, "You are not worthy." But he sat still. He touched the earth and let his belief in truth anchor him. That gesture, simple and silent, defeated the voice of fear. That is your path too. Not to fight the doubt with more noise, but to sit still, breathe, and let your quiet belief rise. The belief that you are on the right path. The belief that you are not alone. The belief that Dharma will carry you. Let Dharma be your foundation. Let belief be your flame. With these, you do not need to rush. You do not need to prove. You only need to walk. And step by step, you will remember what was never lost, your own power. There was once a man who held a clay cup so tightly in his hands that his fingers turned white. The cup was precious to him, not because it was valuable, but because he believed it defined who he was. One day, the cup slipped and broke. He cried not for the cup itself, but because he didn't know who he was without it. This is how many live, with attachments disguised as identity. Attachment is subtle. It wears a friendly face. It tells you that you are your job, your title, your possessions, your relationships, even your failures. And slowly, it drains your power to believe in yourself because it ties your worth to things that could be taken away. Buddhism teaches that clinging leads to suffering, not because things are bad, but because impermanence is real. Nothing stays. Many lose faith in themselves when something they were attached to disappears. A lost relationship, a missed opportunity, a body that no longer looks the way it used to. But who you are is deeper than all of these things. When one thing is taken from you, it is not a loss of self. It is the shedding of a layer, so the true self can breathe again. A Zen monk once said, "Let go, or be dragged." This is not about giving up everything and running away. It's about loosening your grip on the illusion that something outside of you is the source of your worth. You are worthy, not because of what you have, but because of what you are, conscious, alive, and awake. Think of the lotus. It grows in muddy water. The mud clings, but the flower never lets it define its beauty. Likewise, people walk through difficult, messy, painful experiences, but clinging to them will only darken your path. The way to self-belief is through release, not rejection, but understanding, not resistance, but peace. You are not your past, you are not your pain, and you are not your possessions. You are the awareness that sees them all. When the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, he did not fight the world. He faced himself. All his desires, fears, and attachments arose. And one by one, he saw them, smiled, and let them go. He did not become great by grabbing more. He became free by holding less. Sometimes people ask, if I let go of my attachments, what will be left? The answer is simple. You will be left. Your pure being, not diluted by craving, not blurred by fear. Still, clear, whole. And in that stillness, the voice of confidence returns. Not loud, not proud, just quiet and true. A voice that says, I am here. I am enough. Believing in yourself does not mean building a fortress of achievements. It means walking freely without fear of loss. When a person is not afraid to lose, they become strong beyond measure, because their strength no longer comes from clinging to things, but from their ability to let them pass and still remain whole. Many chase things endlessly, titles, applause, approval, but like chasing the wind, it leaves them tired and empty. When you stop chasing, when you sit in stillness and just observe your own breath, your own thoughts, without judgment, something begins to shift. You discover that the treasure was never out there. It was in the calm center of your being. A person who lets go can love more deeply. They're not trying to own or control. They're just present. A person who lets go can create without fear. They are not afraid of failure. They just act, and their action is pure. A person who lets go does not need to prove anything. Their being is already a silent proof of truth. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you care without needing to grasp. Like how a tree lets its leaves fall, not with sadness, but with grace. Trusting that new ones will grow. Trusting the rhythm of life. You too are part of this rhythm. Trust yourself. Trust your unfolding. Sometimes attachments are to ideas about who we should be. Perfection. Always successful. Always in control. But these ideas are cages. They limit your growth. In Buddhist thought, the self is fluid, not fixed. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to be soft one day and strong the next. You are allowed to not have all the answers. When you detach from these rigid ideas, you find a new strength. The strength of flexibility. A tree that does not bend and the storm breaks, but one that flows with the wind survives. Believing in yourself means trusting that even if you bend, even if you fall, you can rise again. You don't need to be perfect. You need only be true. The Buddha taught the middle way, not extreme denial, not indulgence, but balance. In the same way, don't swing between arrogance and self-hatred. Find the middle, a quiet, clear belief in your basic goodness. You don't need to shout it. You just live it. You just breathe it, and others will feel it too. Each time you let go of something false, you come closer to something real. That realness is your power. It's not found in the noise of the world. It's found in the silence of your heart. Take a breath. Feel it. That's life. That's you. That's enough. Letting go is not a one-time act. It is a gentle practice. Each morning, you wake up and ask, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? And each night, you release it. Not with force, but with love. And slowly, your hands are no longer full of old things. They are open, ready to receive new peace, new light, new self-belief. You may fall again. You may forget, but the path is always beneath your feet. The Dharma does not judge your pace. It only asks you to walk. And in walking, in releasing, in returning to yourself again and again, you will find that believing in yourself is not an act of pride. It is a return to your original nature. So do not fear the letting go. Do not mourn the things that leave. Do not measure yourself by what stays. Instead, meet yourself in the empty spaces. Sit with the stillness. There, you will hear your own truth. Not loud, but enough. And when you walk into the world from that place, not clinging, not chasing. You will not need anyone to tell you that you are enough. You will know it, not because someone said so, but because you have met yourself and found nothing missing. That is the quiet power of self-belief, the belief that is born not from holding more, but from holding less, not from being someone else, but from simply being, and in that being is your awakening. When one hears the word emptiness, the mind may tremble, thinking it means something hollow or meaningless. But in the teachings of the Buddha, emptiness is not despair. It is the doorway to true freedom. The one who understands emptiness does not become lost. Instead, they begin to awaken. When you realize that all things are empty of fixed self, including your thoughts, your failures, and even your fears, you stop being bound by them. In truth, the belief that I am not enough is also empty. It is a thought, arising and passing without any core. But we clutch to it. We hold it close as if it were our identity. The Buddha taught that this clinging creates suffering. But when you see clearly that the self you doubt is not solid, you begin to let go. In that letting go, a new space is created, a space not of nothingness, but of possibility. The river flows freely because it does not try to hold its shape. It bends around rocks, dances with the wind, accepts the banks that guide it. It has no fixed form, and that is its power. So too is the nature of your mind. When you let go of the rigid image of who you think you must be, you begin to discover who you already are beneath the dust of belief and comparison. You are not your name. You are not your job. You are not your mistakes. These are roles. These are garments the world has placed upon you, or that you have worn out of habit. Strip them away gently, and what remains? Just awareness. Just being. And in that, there is nothing lacking. Nothing to fix. Only the soft breath of life, here and now. Many people fear emptiness because they believe it means being alone. But the truth is the opposite. When a mind becomes empty of judgment and comparison, it is full of compassion. You begin to see others not as threats or competitors, but as fellow travelers, just like you, struggling with their own doubts and seeking peace in a noisy world. Buddha did not teach us to believe in ourselves as an ego. He taught us to understand the illusion of the ego. And in doing so, we come to trust something even deeper, our Buddha nature. This is not pride. This is not arrogance. It is the quiet knowing that you are already whole, already enough, already sacred. A tree does not try to prove itself. It grows silently, patiently, with no comparison. It drinks the rain, reaches toward the sun, and lets go of its leaves when the season comes. It believes in its purpose by simply being what it is. Can you also trust the unfolding of your own life? Sometimes we try to control everything. We want answers. We want guarantees. But life, like the sky, cannot be gripped. It is too wide, too open. And this openness is not a curse. It is your gift. The more you release your need for certainty, the more room there is for discovery. People ask, how do I believe in myself when I've failed? But failure is only a word. It does not define you. The moon disappears during the new moon, but no one says the moon has failed. It will shine again. So will you. The rhythm of life includes silence, darkness, even stillness. And these are not signs of defeat, but preparation. You have spent years listening to the voice that says you are not ready, not worthy, not capable. But who gave that voice such power? Where is it now? Can you find it? Touch it? It is just sound, memory, thought, impermanent and shifting. If it were real, it would stay. But it comes and goes. And you are still here. Sit with your breath for a moment. Just that. No ambition. No connection. Just breathing. Do you feel how life sustains you without any demand for perfection? This breath is enough. This moment is enough. In this awareness, you do not need permission to believe in yourself. Some chase success like a shadow. They think it will make them whole. But what if success is not something you catch, but something you live? What if believing in yourself means walking steadily, one step at a time, without needing applause, without needing to prove? There's great power in stillness. When the mind is quiet, the truth appears. Not loud, Not dramatic, but clear. And one truth is this: you are already what you seek. Your doubts are like clouds, but the sky does not fear the clouds. It allows them, watches them, and remains vast. To believe in yourself is not to shout, "I am great." It is to whisper, "I am here," and to show up fully again and again, despite the noise of the world. It is not about being better than others. It is about being kind to yourself, honest with your journey, and gentle with your struggles. You were never meant to be perfect. Even the Buddha was not born enlightened. He suffered, searched, questioned. That is part of the path. And yet he awakened, not by adding more, but by letting go. That is how self-belief grows, not through force, but through clarity. The lotus blooms in the mud. It does not curse the mud. It rises through it. In the same way, your doubts, your fears, your struggles are not blocks. They are soil. From them, your wisdom can grow. From them, your strength can rise. The mud is not separate from the flower. It is its foundation. So don't be afraid of your emptiness. Don't run from the silence inside. Sit with it. Breathe into it. In that silence, you will hear something ancient and true. The voice of your own heart, which has been waiting not for the world to approve, but for you to awaken. You are not broken. You are unfolding, like a bud before spring, like dawn before the light. Emptiness is not the end. It is the beginning. From that space, anything is possible. The path ahead may be uncertain, but the step you take now, in trust, in courage, in stillness, that is your power. The Buddha said, "Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form." This is not a puzzle to solve, but a mystery to live. When you realize this, you stop clinging to what is gone and fearing what has not yet arrived. You begin to live here, in this breath, in this body, with this heart, and that is where belief is born. Let the old self fall away. Let the mask drop. Beneath it, there is something honest, something real. It is not loud. It does not beg for attention, but it is strong. It is kind. It is you. Now walk with that, quietly, firmly, as yourself. He walked slowly, not rushing, not delaying, just walking. And that was enough. In every step there was trust. In every breath, a quiet knowing. This was the middle path, not a tightrope of rules, but a gentle trail between extremes. It did not demand perfection, only presence. It didn't punish weakness. It welcomed it with understanding. It did not preach loud confidence, but whispered calm certainty. Long ago, the Buddha sat beneath a tree and saw clearly. We suffer because we cling too tightly or we push too hard. Too much desire, too much fear, too much control, too much surrender. He found that balance is not in the outer world. It is not in the praise of others or the security of plans. It is born in stillness and nurtured by self-awareness. When one begins to walk the middle path, belief in oneself begins to grow naturally, like a flower blooming in its right season. Confidence does not always roar. Sometimes it breathes softly in moments of silence. It is the strength to keep walking when there is no applause. It is the wisdom to rest when tired, not because you are lazy, but because you are wise. This is not weakness. It is the clarity of someone who knows their inner worth cannot be measured by outer noise. Many people think believing in oneself means being bold and loud, always pushing forward. But often, that is just another mask for fear. The middle path teaches something different. It shows that self-belief is quiet and steady, like a mountain. It does not compete. It does not compare. It simply exists, rooted in the truth of being. Imagine holding a cup of tea, too hot and you burn, too cold and it has no comfort, but just warm enough and it brings peace. This is how one must treat themselves, with neither harshness nor indulgence. When you walk this way, you begin to see there's nothing outside you that needs to validate who you are. Some days will bring mistakes. Others will bring success. But neither define you. You are not your worst moment. And you're not just your best. You're the awareness that watches both rise and fall like waves. When you remember this, the fear of judgment begins to fade. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone, not even to yourself. This is the confidence of the middle path. It is not driven by ambition, nor blocked by hesitation. It is like a river that flows, not too fast, not too slow, finding its way around rocks, not through them. It does not shout, "Look at me." It simply moves, and that movement is enough. In Buddhism, there's no need to become someone else. The middle way reminds us to return to ourselves, not the self of ego, but the self of awareness. That part of you that is already complete, already whole, already enough. Even the Buddha was once full of doubt. He tried extreme discipline. He tried indulgence. But in the middle, he found truth, not by escaping the world, but by seeing it clearly and walking through it with wisdom. So why should you punish yourself for being human? Why should you chase others' expectations when peace lives in your own breath? The middle path is a practice, not a destination. You will fall, you will stray, but you can return, always return. Each time you come back to yourself, your trust grows, not in what you can do, but in who you are. This is the slow unfolding of inner belief, not built in a day, but deepened each time you choose balance over extremes. People often ask, what if I fail? But the deeper question is, what if I never try because I fear failure? The middle path answers gently. Try, but don't cling. Care, but don't obsess. Give your best, but don't lose yourself in the result. This is not just a way to succeed. It is a way to live without fear. Confidence becomes natural when we stop playing roles, when we stop needing to be better than others, or even better than our past. Walking the middle way means allowing yourself to be fully here, now, with what you have and who you are. That is not settling. That is awakening. The world pulls us toward extremes. More noise, more speed, more perfection. But the middle path brings you back to silence, to stillness, to enoughness. In that quiet space, something shifts. You no longer need to be seen. You're already seen by yourself. And that is where belief begins. Sometimes the most powerful act of belief is doing something simple and doing it with care. Drinking tea, sweeping the floor, helping someone, showing up when it's hard. Each of these, done mindfully, builds your inner temple. Not for others, but for your own peace. To believe in yourself is not to shout into the wind, but to hear the voice within and trust it. Not every voice in your head, only the one that speaks with kindness, the one that does not rush, the one that feels like home. That is the voice of the middle path. That is the path of real confidence. You may not walk like others. You may not think like them. You may feel strange or behind. But do not forget, the river does not ask the mountain how to flow. It finds its way by trusting its nature. And so can you. Start where you are, not where you think you should be. You don't need more time, more skills, more approval. You need more gentleness, more clarity, more willingness to stay on your own path. One breath, one step, one moment of courage at a time. The middle path is not something outside you. It is you when you stop pretending. It is you when you stop fighting. It is you when you simply return again and again to this present moment and say quietly, I am here and I am enough. And if the world doesn't understand you, let be. The tree does not explain its roots. The sky does not justify its blue. Walk anyway. Trust anyway. Breathe anyway. For on this path, your faith is not built by proving. It is built by living. This is the power of belief. This is the grace of the middle way. It is already within you. You only have to walk it. There comes a moment when a seeker stops seeking, a moment so quiet it's almost missed, a moment when the mind, having wandered through every corner of the world for answers, suddenly sits still. That stillness is not emptiness. It is not silence without meaning. It is the beginning of something powerful, the recognition that the light we've been chasing has always lived within us. The Buddha once said, "Be a lamp unto yourself." Many repeat these words, but few feel their weight. What does it mean to be a lamp unto yourself? It means to stop begging for approval, to stop hoping someone else will save you, to stop waiting for the world to show you who you are. You already know. Believing in yourself is not loud. It does not shout over the noise of others. It is the soft, unwavering voice inside that whispers, I will continue. It is the strength that returns after failure. It is the hand you extend to yourself when no one else reaches out. And it is the wisdom to realize that being human means falling and rising again with gentleness. You're not here by accident. The unfolding of your breath, the beat of your heart, the rhythm of your footsteps, they are all part of a deeper story. A story written not in the stars, but in your choices, in your courage, in your compassion. To believe in yourself is to honor that story, not to pretend you are perfect, but to accept that even in your imperfection, you are worthy. The path of the Buddha is not a path for the proud, nor for those who seek only comfort. It is a path for those who dare to see their pain, to hold it, to look into their anger, their fear, their shame, and instead of turning away, to walk directly into it with open eyes. That is belief, not denial, not ego, but presence. In the end, every teaching leads you back to yourself. The sutras can guide, the teachers can point, the community can support, but no one can walk your path for you. No one can sit in the silence of your mind and sort through your storms. That is your task. And the more you meet yourself in that quiet place, the more the world begins to make sense. You have seen yourself through the eyes of doubt long enough. You have believed the lies your fear has told you. You have waited for permission to live fully, to speak clearly, to stand tall. But you need wait no longer. No one else has the right to validate your being. You exist. You are here. That alone is enough to begin. The Zen way is not complicated. It asks you to return again and again to this moment, this breath, this body. No need to fix. No need to change what is already whole. Believing in yourself is simply remembering that you are not broken. You are not lacking. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be, learning, evolving, awakening. See how the tree bends in the wind, yet never questions its roots. See how the mountain stands without boasting. See how the river flows without fear of where it ends. These are your teachers. Nature does not ask for recognition. It simply lives its purpose. And so must you. If you feel weak, know that strength is not the absence of struggle. It is your ability to stay gentle in the middle of hardship. If you feel lost, remember that even a compass turns before it points north. If you feel broken, realize that cracks are the places where the light first enters. There are people who will never understand your journey, not because it is too complicated, but because they are still running from their own. Do not let their confusion become your doubt. Do not shrink to fit the expectations of others. You are not made to be small. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree not to become divine, but to remember his true nature. In that remembrance, he awakened. And so will you. Your Bodhi tree is not in some distant land. It is right here, in this moment, in this breath, in your willingness to sit and truly see. You do not need to achieve something to be worthy of belief. You do not need success or titles or applause. You need only the quiet courage to keep walking, and when you fall, to rise again, not for the world to see, but for yourself. That is the path. That is the practice. Forgive yourself. Forgive the years you lived in doubt. Forgive the times you believed you were not enough. Forgive the voice that whispered fear. And now let all go, not in anger, not in regret, but in gratitude. Every wound has brought you here. Every failure has shaped you. Every tear has softened your heart. Look at your life as it is now, not as a punishment, but as a gift, not as a struggle to overcome, but as a sacred unfolding. Each moment is a doorway. Each challenge is a teaching, and each breath is a choice. Will you believe the stories of fear or the truth of your being? You are not just one drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a single drop. Every part of the cosmos moves within you. You are life itself, rising, falling, breathing, blooming. Why should you not believe in something so profound? From this day forward, let belief not be a distant goal, but a daily return. Return to your breath. Return to your stillness. Return to your strength. This is your path. You are both student and teacher, seeker and guide, wound and healing. You are whole. And when doubt visits again, as it surely will, smile at it like an old friend. Do not fight it. Do not feed it. Simply return to yourself. The light has never left you. It was only waiting for you to see it again. Now, before we close, take a deep breath. Feel your presence. Feel your strength. Feel your heart. Let this moment be the beginning of truly walking your path. With trust, with clarity, with love. Thank you for walking this journey with us. If this message touched your heart, we invite you to support the Circle of Wisdom. Like this video, share with someone who may need it. Comment your thoughts so others may feel not alone, and subscribe to Wisdom Writings to continue walking the path together. And above all, believe in yourself. From now and always.